Good evening, Warriors. This is Vigor Warriors 2, and I'm going to do an episode tonight, one of our catch-up shows here a little bit. I wanted to get you guys kind of caught up with another one of these videos that questions you guys had. So I hope you guys are having a good evening. And once again, I want to give a bunch of shout-outs. I went through the list a little bit here, so let's kind of do that first. So No Name, thank you for your comment. Dex, thanks for that. We're almost at 1,000, so I think we're at 990, something like that. So thank you guys so much. I feel very blessed, and I appreciate all those comments, so thank you. Giovanni, thank you for your comment, my friend. Several comments you made, so that's excellent. Mark, thank you so much, too. I like this quote you said. It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener during a war, which I like that very much. Good job. Thank you, my friend. Marco Lopez, thank you. Marco Lopes, I guess. Open Source, thank you for your comment. Julius Thompson, thank you. Tech Z, excellent. Charles Peak, several good comments from Charles, and I appreciate those. Eduardo Prieto, thank you, Eduardo. And we're going to take a couple topics from him and Charles, so thank you guys very much. Robert, thank you for your comments. Seek and Find, thank you. Christian Marino, Christian, we're going to take one of yours on loneliness at some point and semen retention. I like that. DSM Tech, thank you. Optical Man, Scott Allen, I know we kind of talked the other day with Scott. Thank you for all your comments, Scott, and thank you. And good luck, guys, with your continual battle there. And thank you for everybody who kind of raced to support to Scott as well. So thank you very much on that. John Jennings had a couple good questions. I'm going to focus on one in a couple days. Levi, thank you. I say Murray, thank you from Trinidad. Welcome, my friend. Greetings from Trinidad. Thank you. Money Masoro 7, thank you. Adam Lopez, thank you. A.T. Poe, Josh Holmes, thank you. My Mojo, thank you. Davion Shipley from Trinidad, thank you very much. Good to hear from you. Flex William, Jay Booby, Booby Duck. Welcome, my friend. Thank you so much. The reason I'm Vigor 2 is because originally when I started this, we had Vigor 1, but I messed up with the computer I had, and I couldn't use the computer, so I went to Vigor 2 just to kind of keep it separate. I think I have one video on Vigor 1 somewhere, but that was way back about a year and a half ago. So, but thank you, Jay, for asking. Fresh Start, excellent comments, and OG Air Max, as usual. Great comments. We'll take a couple of ideas that you talked about. Codalicious, thank you very much. Mike as well. Polly, James, Aspie from Brazil. Welcome, Aspie. Lion Machine, great comment you made there. I appreciate that. DH, This and That had a good comment on Michael Jackson. I think I may do one on Michael Jackson. He, and whether or not you liked Michael Jackson or not, some people did, some people didn't. There's a certain aura when you look at him. You can notice that and you see that. So you can probably tell he was on some level of retention. So new subscriber, Modest, thank you, Modest, and then Phil La as well. So thank you guys very much on this. One of the books that was recommended, and I'm trying to kind of see, was by A Change Your Universe by John Gabriel. So I appreciate that recommendation. And I apologize because I don't have it listed which one recommended, but thank you very much. I'll go ahead and try to look at that book, and then I'll go back and kind of look at who recommended it. So I appreciate those recommendations as well. So thank you guys very much. All right, so let's go ahead then kind of focus on one. We have lots of good topics coming up. So we have a number of them that I want to take a look at this. We had one question about intercourse without releasing. Does that get rid of semen retention? I don't believe it does, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. If retaining, are you able to procreate during wedding night? And I believe that's the case. You can do that. This is from John. John had a good question. We'll focus on that one a little bit in future weeks. Do women deserve your energy? Comes from a number of quotes from Eduardo. I like that a lot. Aggressiveness equals high energy. I like that. We'll talk about that as a topic that was sent in. And how to deal with masculine women under semen retention. We'll talk about that a little bit too. I like that. So let's go ahead and kind of talk a little bit. And I think these were some comments made from Phil La and a few other people, DH as well. And several people mentioned this and talked about this a little bit. We're going to talk about this fact that it is awkward, and Robert was the one that kind of sent this to me originally, but let's go ahead and talk about this a little bit. It can be awkward, this whole situation, if you're not used to it. If you're not used to retaining, this other people's reactions can be very awkward. We talked about the fact that women will chase you because they sense that energy in you. They understand that you have energy and they want to be around that energy. Okay? Other people, some women will not chase you. Most will recognize it and they'll respond to it. I can't tell you the number of interactions I have during the day where they will respond, whether or not they give you a wink, whether or not they treat you nice and they say nice things about you, start a conversation. All these things become different than before. And that's how you can notice it. But this also becomes a little awkward because if you're not used to this, you're going to have to deal and learn how to deal with it. And that's the key. And so when we talk about this awkwardness thing, it can be awkward under semen retention. Conversations, relationships, you have to kind of learn how to deal with the awkwardness of semen retention. Because the idea is that people will treat you differently. They will be attracted to the energy level. There's something about you that to them indicates that you're a strong male. Someone who's on purpose, on plan, getting better each day. And that becomes a strong force in you. And as Mark and Braveheart 576 mentioned, there's no question in my mind that this is real. Because my life has changed so much over the last, 915 days now than it was before that. Now, yes, I had success using the Kendler book here, and I'm going to kind of show it to you guys again, The Fountain of Youth, right? But I had that from a physical standpoint. I wasn't sick maybe in the 20-some years before I started doing the retention and the sixth rite, which is in here. And we'll have to go over this at some point again. But the idea is that I had good success from 1998. I mean, I kind of helped myself not to have a lot of injuries. I only got sick maybe once or twice within that 20-year period, and I was feeling very good. But I wasn't reaching my potential, and I wasn't feeling that joy and peace that we're going to talk about in another episode at some point about how you can get joy and peace. The thing is that I did not have that. And we talk about the sixth exercise, and there's 5 that deal with more, I would say, meditation and yoga. But the sixth one really focuses on this idea of, and now we call it semen retention, but celibacy, not having sex, those type of things indicate the release of that energy. Now, as we're going to talk about, Eduardo makes a good point. I believe that you have to make that choice of when you're going to release. Now, procreation is part of what we do. This is something that is part of life. I'm trying to read here for a second. Somebody had mentioned that to me that, in one of the things, DSM Tech, when you're looking for a mate, obviously procreation is important. And that's part of life. Giving to other people, especially as Eduardo was talking about, is also important. There's nothing wrong with giving them energy that make them feel better. But you remember, you're being drained as you're giving it to them. Now you can rebuild, and people who find one person can rebuild. But this is why the Bible talked about, and I think it was in Mark law in the New Testament, talking about it, the fact that you have to be able to understand that if you can't control yourself, then getting married is probably a good idea because you have one person. And that was really the recommendation for marriage. That if people want to stay single, that's great. But if you're spending your time chasing women and releasing all the time, you're not going to be able to follow God's purpose and do what you need to do to kind of be in God's purpose. And this is what the whole idea was. But your relationships with people, as you retain, will change. Now, how will it change? Well, let's take a look at this a little bit. And going back to a couple of comments that we're talking about, how Robert was mentioning that, if you're not used to the attraction, these become very awkward types of things. Now, women will chase you. Now, they may not know why they're suddenly attracted to you, but it's almost like the strange looks. We talked about that before. They will come over and talk with you. They will not let you go because they sense that energy. Now, from a person who is not had those reactions, and I'm 61, so to me, it's really, it can be awkward. Now, I have a background in communications, and I've studied that and worked on, my graduate degrees and things like that. So I've learned how to deal with some of that over time. But for people who don't know how to communicate and learn how to communicate, and I would recommend those type of studies because I think that will help you in dealing with some of this awkwardness. Learning how to communicate with women is a key type of thing, and understanding what they're looking for. They're looking for obviously validation, strength, protection, security, things like that. Those things they're looking for those things. But when we talk about this, guys, we have to realize that people will view you differently. Women will chase you. Women will talk with you. They want to be part of this life. They want to be attracted to you. That energy level attracts people. And because of that, it will seem awkward to you because this hasn't happened before. Obviously, you have to kind of take it for what it's worth. And especially if you're in relationships with someone right away. If you're married or you're going out with somebody and you don't really want to have multiple relationships, well, which I don't recommend, of course, because it's going to drain you even more. But you want to go ahead then and kind of focus on it being as a flattering type of thing. And realize what it is. It's good practice for you. It's a practice to kind of talk with women because you're going to be dealing with women in the workforce, all kinds of different situations. And it's good to know how to do that. You become an attractive male, you not only get, and I know that it was Eduardo talked about this from the financial standpoint, it's not only a matter that you're going to get attraction from the opposite sex, in relationships, but you also, if they're in positions of power in a workplace, or obviously they can have influence on that, they're gonna draw you into the workplace as well. And those are the types of decisions you have to make. So it's a lifestyle change, as many people have mentioned. And because it's a lifestyle type of change, now you're focusing on saying, okay, I will deal with this. And I will have to kind of keep my focus and not let those birds build a nest, right? But go and work on my stuff that I have to work on. And then I will continue to kind of grow. And it's a flattering thing if people talk with you. If they kind of wink at you or they smile, all of a sudden they have a different reaction. And you could look. And what happens with this retention and self-control, you become a lot more confident. And that's part of the issue. And that's why we talked about before, is this a placebo effect or is it really real? Well, your confidence level is real because you feel stronger. And you can look at a woman's eyes, almost like the hypnotic Dracula, as I always talk about. They sense that. And boom, all of a sudden they'll smile because they sense you. And it's very rare because most young men, especially ages 25 to 35, a lot of our viewing audience, they struggle with having eye contact because the confidence level is not strong. They don't want to show themselves to people. And so what you want to do is you want to learn how to build good eye contact, but you also want to have that dominating type of force. Because that woman's going to say, okay, this is a man who is a man. And this man has that beast mentality. And I'll tell you, that's something that's very attractive. Because not only do they want to soothe the beast, but they obviously want to have an exciting person around them that they're not sure what's going to happen. It's unpredictable. And this beast-like mentality is a very unpredictable. Because you never know what the person's going to say or do because they're very confident. And they're not intimidated by the woman. And so therefore they become very attractive. They're not giving attention to the woman all the time. They're doing their own thing and they become very attractive. But you're also, on the other hand, going to end up getting a lot of men who want to fight. And we had this comment a couple times within the last few days. People are going to fight because they sense you're a man. And what happens? Well, you get in these situations when you're in bars or parties or situations like that. Now the men want to prove their insecurities because they want to challenge you to fight. You've got to be smart, my friends. Warriors have to be smart. You remember the bigger battle. Don't get into little battles with weak-minded people, because they're trying to drag you down. They want to show their girlfriend or their significant other that they're tougher than you are. You're this big man. You have this energy. Okay? So that's something you have to tend to look at. And you want to say to yourself, okay, I'm not going to get involved in these type of situations. I'm going to avoid these situations, and I'm just going to kind of move on. Don't stoop yourself. Don't go to the level of those people. And again, but you're going to have that situation. Some women will chase you, and men will be either afraid of you, and they'll show you respect, or they're going to fight you, or they want to fight. Now you have to learn, once again, the communication strategies to deal with this. This is why this becomes powerful, my friend. Use the power in the right way with responsibility. And that's why this old Spider-Man quote is always the right one, right? With great power comes great responsibility. You can't be starting fights with everybody, and you can't be going ahead and trying to deal with all these petty types of annoyances that people have because they want to fight with you. They're going to start fights in bars. And this is one of the recommendations I would say is stay away from those type of situations. There's places that you're going to meet a lot of people, but you don't want to get yourself in a situation when you're mixing alcohol and drugs and gambling and all these things where there's a possibility that people who are not in the right state of mind will start sensing your energy. And this is the whole key, guys. They may sense that energy because they're not in the right frame of mind. They can't control themselves. They have no control. You have control. So there's another situation where you have to control yourself from not letting go and fighting and being able to deal with this situation and walking away. That's important. And at this point, you don't really care about what other people think because it doesn't affect your self-esteem anymore. It doesn't affect your self-confidence. So guys, this is awkward. This is not an easy situation for those who are beginning the journey. And it's always easy to say, okay, I don't want to do this anymore and fall back on it. But remember the great benefits. You are becoming a superhuman person with this power. Now, really what you're becoming is a regular man. But because that's so rare in the society at this point in our society, that you basically are becoming superhuman compared to most people. And women flock because they notice it. Now, if everybody was doing this, if you had 99% of people doing it, well, then we probably wouldn't need this type of show because everybody would be attracted. And we used to have a lot more of the percentage years ago, but because of stuff on the internet, because of all the stuff available to people, because of the lack of self-control with men and women, all of a sudden they just go ahead and kind of, they're going to release their energy all over the place. And that's dangerous for themselves, for the other people, and for our society as a whole, in my opinion. So anyway, so going back to this, expect in this lifestyle change, my friends, that you're going to have women that are chasing you because they want that energy. They want to be around a person who's exciting, who has some aura. It's a subconscious thing for the most part, but it's something very noticeable. I mean, all of a sudden yesterday I was sitting there talking to a bunch of students and I got a person coming and just grabbing me. And, obviously as a male, I just have to kind of stay, and just, smile and just say, yeah, what's up? But that person was just, they just had to put their hands on my shoulders. And that's something that just happens, And so I was cordial. I responded the right way. But again, it's very noticeable. It was very different than what I've ever experienced before from this person. So a lot of times they sense it, or they may say, wow, hello, great to see you. It's an abnormal, I guess, type of response. It's something that you don't always see, and that's why you know it's working. Something is different. And what's changed? That person hasn't changed. Maybe they have changed a little bit, but you've changed a lot. Your whole attitude is different. All right, my friends. Well, I think I've covered this one. So, Robert, a shout out to you, my friend. Thank you for the comment. Also, a number of people that I kind of shouted out to, Phil and a lot of DH, line machine, a lot of people who've kind of talked about this idea of it can be, you could have men could be coming at this and that. I think I said something too about it. You could have a lot of men who are upset with you, but you have to continue going, because if you go back, you're going to be in that 99% category, and a lot of those beta males are just setting themselves up for a long life of misery. Okay? All right, my friends. Actually, I hope you guys have the rest of the weekend. I may try to do one tomorrow if I get a chance. But you guys have a great evening, rest of the evening. God bless you guys. And battle on. Remember, every day is a new day to a wise warrior. And thank you guys so much for your comments. I think we're near 1,000 if we're not over. God bless you guys, and take care.